Hello, everyone. My name is Sai Krishna Suresh, mechanical engineering student at Wayne State University. I'm a senior, so I'm going to be graduating this year. Just a quick overview of why I think I'm qualified to talk about this topic. Both of my parents work in the healthcare industry, specifically pharmaceuticals, and they're always coming to me telling me the benefits and the negatives of the different pharmaceutical products available. And one of the things that they really stress is that if there was a universal flu vaccine, there wouldn't be any issues and some of the things that they see in their industry that could be solved with such a product out there. And when I came across this article among the links provided to us, it just kind of caught my eye, and I feel like I have some knowledge on my behalf on the subject. So just an introduction of what I'll be talking about throughout this presentation. Just the annual flu shot basically ideally protects about 60% of its recipients. In addition, the flu shot only protects about 25% of the original 60% from the more dominant strains. So there's a dominant strain such as H3N2, which is more on the side of bird flu or any of the flus that can possibly cause pandemics to people. So a flu shot that can protect against multiple strains is becoming necessary. So the demand is very high for such a flu shot. And therefore, as a result, we've seen funding increases from different organizations, such as the Bill Gates Foundation, who kind of kicked off leading the pack to try to fund a universal vaccination. So he gave up actually $12 million, and he's been working with Edward Markey Bill, who is a senator of Massachusetts, who actually recently signed a bill in February to provide $1 billion to the NIAID, which is the National Institutes of Health and Disease department. So these people are constantly working to try to figure out cures for different diseases, cancers, flus, etc. So as they use the funding and things like that we have to first understand there's limitations for this universal vaccination, and one of the most limitations are biological. So a vaccination that can guard against all types of the flu is considered unattainable. So for those who do not know, the flu virus is basically always evolving and always changing. It's different immune systems have different reactions to a vaccination. So it's very hard to apply the vaccination to everything. So in addition, age groups is very important. Many of the people today are considering not to give their kids flu vaccination. So it may be difficult for them in the future to get the vaccination to work as effectively, because there's this concept of imprinting where it says the first flu virus that you get is how you're going to encounter the flu virus for the rest of your life. So if you get a strong flu virus at a young age, you won't be affected by the smaller flu viruses. On the other hand, if you got a weaker flu virus at a young age, you will be very affected by a strong flu virus in the future. So in addition to that, so the current development of the vaccination is really limited. It's developed through a chicken egg, so it's basically cultured in a chicken egg to try to see how the virus grows. So rather than applying it directly into a human, it's not really a good base control variable to use it through chicken egg. So I think I know that the NIAID is working on a practical application. As well as biological hurdles, there are also economic hurdles. So you got to think in a healthcare perspective, they're not going to spend any money on a product that's going to not turn them profit, and consumers need to be able to afford the vaccine as well. So the current vaccination that the NIAID is working on is the M-001 vaccination. This vaccination is currently in phase 2 trials in the US and phase 3 clinical trials in Europe. So the reason why this differs from the current vaccination is that it contains 5 viral protein stretches instead of the typical whole flu virus. So the current vaccination only gives you one type of flu virus. So the M-001 vaccination provides you with 5 different viruses. So it kind of puts you across the board, and instead of only protecting against one, you have 5 different types of protection. And it does not act as a live virus vaccination. So basically the virus will grow and become active in your bloodstream rather than just giving you a live virus. And in addition to that, it contains T cells and B cells responses. So for those who are not familiar with biological terms and things of that nature, T cells and B cells are the white blood cells that are constantly working against pathogens and different diseases that you encounter. So having double the work rather than the original vaccination, who only has B cell responses, is very beneficial. So currently, the phase two clinical testing is being done in the U.S. and is led by the biomedical engineering department at Baylor College, which is a great department. Right now, the tests are working with a group of 120 healthy adults, and they're divided into two different groups. So the first group receives the M-001 vaccination, and while the second group is only given a placebo. So the process is repeated for several weeks. And in the final stage of the process, both groups will receive the M-001 vaccination, and blood work will be taken. So the results will be obtained after the blood work, and the blood work will approximately take 2 years to come in. So there's kind of like a delay for when we actually get this universal vaccination to see if it even works. So overall, this is a conclusion. The development of universal vaccination looks promising. Like I said, there are hurdles that we must go through biologically and economically. And so the types of strains it can fight are to be determined. Like I said before, you were injected with five different types of viral flu proteins. So, but it's very situational. As I said, different age groups, different body types, different immune systems can alter how the vaccination works. And we need to understand that we need to make different combinations of the strains. So we can't just stop at 5. And what the NIAID plans to do is to find all different types of the virus and try to inject different proteins and try to make it so that we can protect against all across the board rather than limiting themselves. So, like I said before, the results of testing will be attained in that last 2 years, and multiple versions are expected. So hopefully we get to see a universal vaccine in our lifetime, and so that not only to benefit our country, but the rest of the world. Thank you again for your time, and hope this was informational for everyone, and have a great day.